Welcome to the Two Ton Nerds. As always, my name is Max James, and in this episode of the TTN Presents, it's episode 5 of Straight from the Brit's Mouth, where me and my friend Michael from the UK, we talk about just pop culture in general, but tonight, or actually today, we're going to be talking about Game of Thrones, Avengers, and some of our dark spots in horror movies, because even though we do like horror, there's a few movies that do slip by us. So, okay, with all that said, me and you have been kind of talking about Game of Thrones and trying to. I know you hadn't gotten caught up by the time I watched the latest episode, so we're just going to kind of start from episode 1 of the season 8. Spoilers galore. So if you have not seen any of the season, stop now and forever hold your peace, whatever. So, okay. The first question is, are you liking this season?
You know what? I know it's getting a lot of criticism, but I actually really do like this season so far.
Me too.
A lot. And, well, it's a heartbreaking season, I find, so far.
Right, and I'm glad they're not going with some of the more obvious choices. You know, like they're just doing some things that are just straight out. Like some people's deaths aren't as epic as a lot of people thought it was going to be, or some of the just choices that for character development and stuff, or have been like being foreshadowed through the whole series, and I'm loving every bit of it. And I've as soon as the latest episode aired, I loved reading the reactions, and everyone was just hating on episode 5, like the one that just premiered this past Sunday. And I was like, oh man, I don't understand why everyone is giving this episode such hate. So we're just going to start from episode 1 from season 8 and just talk about it. Did you like the first episode of the season?
Yeah, I did. One of my favourite things to see was Arya's reaction to seeing the dragons fly past, and
yeah.
it was like I guess for her it's like being a child at that moment, because hasn't really been childlike since the beginning, and it's quite. You get a nice moment where she's like, "Oh wow, it's a dragon!" It was quite nice to see that kind of thing. Nice little, part warming up for the sadness to come.
Right. It's kind of been a while since we've kind of seen a genuine kind of smile on her face. Since the first season, with her and all of her brothers kind of messing with, in the courtyard and stuff like that. It's kind of been a while.
Yeah, the North remembers.
Yeah. But, to be honest with you, when I first watched the first episode, I was kind of let down. Just because, I was expecting kind of, some epic moments, but I'll kind of...
I guess it's kind of good the way they sort of, eased us into it.
Yeah, I'll kind of come back to this episode when we talk about episode 3, because, I'll explain that in a little bit, but I really liked how this episode was just reunions. Everyone who hasn't been together is getting together in a while. It's we got to see some Daenerys' army showing up in Winterfell, and the dragons, like you mentioned with Arya. And it's it was still a good episode. I'm not trying to bring it down or anything, but I was just I'm so ready for something big to happen, and nothing really big happened except for the knowledge of what Sam told Jon. So,
or as he's known as Aegon.
Right, Targaryen.
Yeah.
I think he handled that information pretty well.
Yeah. He keeps trying to this guy right here. He first wouldn't bend the knee. Now he doesn't want the phone.
Right.
He doesn't take yes for an answer. I'm going to call him John off the no.
Oh, I like. I thought like overall, like I said, it wasn't a bad episode, and there was a lot of good things, and I liked Bran in the episode. Like I'm waiting for an old
yeah.
friend, and like it was Jamie at the end, and I'm like that was all right, that was pretty good. I really liked that. I'm like even I let out like oh kind of moment.
You could feel the tenseness because I believe he thought Bran was dead. I believe he thought that because. Like, in a sense, that was one of the things that kind of started the whole thing.
Right? It really was. Like, just pushing a little kid out the window because he's seen something he shouldn't have seen. So.
You gone completely mad.
What'd you think about the calm before the storm in episode 2? Like, everyone's getting drunk. They were kind of doing some things.
It was a nice episode. It felt like a lot of the earlier seasons, like where... Tyrion would have his wine, and
right.
It was nice. It was a nice episode. So you got that sort of like breather.
Yeah, I liked the second episode much better than the first episode because I think it was a little bit more fun because all the actors just had a chance to kind of just get together, have one last hurrah before the army of the undead just surrounds and takes over. The Winterfell.
Winter did fail.
Yeah. But I liked how Sansa and I can never pronounce her name right, and Daenerys they're kind of feuding at the moment.
Yeah, proper thinking each other's a bitch.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. And Jon is kind of choosing her side, and we'll kind of get into that when we get to that particular episode on why he shouldn't have. Should have listened to a few other people. And what else happened in that episode? Besides, Brianna of Tarth got knighted. I'm like, finally.
That was a nice moment for me personally.
Yeah, it's like.
And then,
go ahead.
Okay. So, now, this is there's a bit more of a fan thing for me, because ever since I saw them bathe together, I've wanted them to so much to have something going on. I shipped it so much. And to finally see that, I was just like, yes. Happy moment. You need something like that during this whole, destruction and, enemies coming. You need, a nice moment like this to, really warms your heart.
And what else? When I'm counting back a few, I just rewatched it just a couple weeks ago. So I'm trying to think of what else happened.
Starbucks coffee cup.
Oh, I cannot. Yeah, I cannot believe people are throwing that big of a fit over a Starbucks coffee. Even though, it's not really a Starbucks coffee, but cup. But it was just like, seriously, it's like mistakes happen.
It's cold in Winterfell. Hey, they need coffee.
Oh man. Did you know, they re-released that episode without the coffee cup in the broadcast?
I'm kind of sad about that. I'm hoping when they release the box set for that season, they have that as an extra scene.
Right.
I want it in there still.
Yeah, I rewatched it with my girlfriend, and I was like, "Oh, here comes the coffee cup," and then it's gone. I'm like, "Oh," and then I immediately went back on my phone.
Sadness.
Yeah, sadness, and I looked on my phone and was like, "Yeah." From after that episode, they re-edited it to digitally remove it, and then they have a new version of the episode up. I'm like, that is no fun whatsoever. It's literally on par with them re-editing the Star Wars movies.
Oh. Oh, quick, before George Lucas changed them again.
Yeah. And it's done. Okay, now, episode 3. Before we talk about that one, after finishing episode 3, I appreciate the first episode much, much better. Because I realized that it was kind of a nice, like you said, easing you into what's about to come. Like the first 2 episodes were literally like the calm before the storm, and then the storm hit in a big bagged way, and it's just like, I take back what I've like my initial disappointment for the first episode away to like, yeah, I totally get why they did the way they did.
Yeah.
Oh man, who'd you have dying in that episode?
Oh Jesus!
I had everybody dying.
Lamia, Mormon, if I'm pronouncing it, like, I just literally had to search this. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong. Let's call her Lania Mormon. She was quite an epic, badass little girl.
Right.
So, but she went out of a bang, in my opinion. Ed, that was a bit unexpected.
Right.
So Jaw of Mormon, the Lord of Light, what's his name?
Yeah, I know the guy with the eye patch. I can't think of his name either. Yeah. I always his name is always the one I forget. I remember everyone else's, or can't pronounce it, but his name is I truly do not remember.
No hate in the comments, please.
Yeah.
And like good old Theon, like
right. I think his death was the biggest one. I think of the episode.
I felt like. Because I remember the conversation, I think was an episode before we had with John. He says, I don't forgive you for certain things, but I forgive you. And he said to him, you are a Greyjoy, but you're also a Stark. Because if we rewind all the way back, he was, a good friend to him, Rob. And I felt like, he helped his sister, Sansa. And I really think up to his final moments, he really redeemed himself.
Yeah. I think so.
And I think Bran knew that as well.
Yeah, it's like Theon. It's like, you are a good man or something like that, and I'm like, you're right. I think he had one of the best redemption arcs of them all, and story wise.
He just got caught up in his ways, and
yeah,
I think he suffered enough and he redeemed himself enough.
Right. I think I totally agree with that. I think. Just watching him run at the Night King, at his last heroic thing, he knew what was going to happen, and he went out fighting for a good cause.
He bought that time that Bran needed. He bought the time for him.
Right.
That to me, that is probably one of the great heroes during that battle. What he did.
Agreed. It as soon as he ran out of arrows, and then his fellow Iron Island members are starting to kind of be picked off one by one. It's just down to him. It's he knows what's going to happen. But what do you think of the overall battle of the whole episode? When the Dothraki finally charge into in the battle.
What the dimming lights in about 5 seconds.
Yeah. When I had my windows open, and so I really set the mood for this episode. I got me some comfort food. I fixed me some I fixed Hamburger Helper because it's just good food. I had me some good drinks. I had the windows open, so if I was going to be hooping and hollering, I'm going to be the whole neighborhood's going to hear it. So I soon as the Dothraki got snuffed out in an instant, I'm oh my! I was just all over the place in my living room. I wasn't necessarily pacing, but I was just switching from one end of the couch. I was sitting in my chair. I was just all over the room because if this is how this episode's going to go, it's anything's going to happen, and it's
oh yeah.
So it's seeing the little swords being switched off that are on fire one by one. I'm oh,
oh,
this isn't good. What was your favorite moment from this episode?
And one, it's more of an actor's moment and character. Grey Worm.
Oh,
I love how the actor showed genuine fear.
Oh yeah.
He was watching his men defend, with no fear, just watching him die, that meant, up to that point, I'd never seen Grey Worm have fear of in him like that.
Like the spot in the episode where he's kind of making a decision to do the little bridge scene. Like, oh, he's making that, that was a big decision. Like, he's going to have to sacrifice his men or basically the survivor, what's going to happen in the inside of Winterfell. It's like, oh, should we let the dead in now or give us a breather?
I think he made the right decision, and
yeah,
if you think about it, watching your army die like that, that must be it's a necessary sacrifice, and it's something that has to be done. But for the cause, it was,
you had to stop the dead in some way, at least give you a chance to kind of recuperate and re-strategize what was going on, what was about to happen. Was there anything that happened that you wanted to happen but didn't, or something that happened but?
Well, I was talking to my girlfriend about the episode actually, and she said in the books, the bit in the crypt is, and she's a little disappointed that it wasn't in the episode, because in the crypt, if you look in the crypt, you see Eddard's crypt, and in the book they come back from the dead.
Okay.
And she says it's a good point, because apparently in the books, I haven't got to that bit because I bought the first book recently. I think the ones that are buried with Valerian still sort of shuts off that reanimation process.
Oh.
So it's a really cool fact for you. But it would have been nice to see Sean Bean come back as a zombified, with no head, obviously. But.
Right. Oh man, I was genuinely into this episode. I was in shock and just this is awesome. Did you have a problem with the brightness of the episode, or with what everyone was saying? I can't see what's going.
Yeah, it was dark in some areas. But nothing like AVP Requiem darkness. That movie was really bad lighting.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. That was, yeah. For those who don't know or haven't seen AVP Requiem, it was so you can't see nothing that's going on. I've seen
even
people,
on the Blu-ray release, people complain.
Right, they even lightened it up, and it was still we can't do nothing with this. It's and I mean, genuinely, I thought that movie was pretty decent, but
you don't care for the characters that die,
right? It's it was just seeing a pred alien running around, just doing what it can, doing what it does best. All right, let's see. We're on episode 4 now. So we're not done with episode 3. What do you think of the ending with Arya and the Night King?
No, I'm very split about this.
Okay.
I do think it's cool the way she just jumps out of nowhere and goes, ah! But I'm a bit bummed how he just died like that.
Right.
Because I think a lot of people felt that way too. But I don't hate it. I just, there's kind of a thing that a lot of people have been waiting for, and then just, to use the word, snuffed. Very. But I guess that's why Theon done what he done. He might have seen her, I guess we don't know about that, but my conclusion is that maybe he knew about that. Maybe that was planned as a distraction.
Yeah, I think, that was always the plan, was to get the Night King in that area, and that was I think that's about what we knew of that particular plan. But I was kind of hoping for a more of an epic showdown between Jon and the Night King, or at least have the Night King kind of take out another member of the main cast to kind of really show that he really means business. But I was not. I tend to not read into things when it comes to my favorite shows. I don't read fan theories and stuff, except for ones that get inadvertently thrown into videos that I watch, but normally I don't like seek out like how people thought Bran was the Night King and stuff like that, and but when I seen Arya kind of just come out of nowhere, and I was like no, and then honestly there thought for a second the Night King had her. Like good shot, or John would have came in at the last second on whatever, just something. But I wasn't expecting the whole switcheroo of the knife and take down the Night King. But how did that episode? Let's see what happened at the end of the episodes. We're on 4 now, so we've won the Battle of Winterfell. The Night King is dead. Now we turn our attentions to King's Landing and Cersei. So,
rest in peace.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna talk about these next 2 episodes together since they're very heavily connected.
Yeah, I do class them as like a sort of part 1 and 2.
Right. Let's see. Who do you think Jon should have sided with?
Oh, now I think he wants to do right for his queen, but I think it seems like he has doubt on a lot of factors.
Right.
Because Daenerys has started to become a bit more, well, as her people have been called, like tyrant-like. It's
like the Mad Queen, from what I've kind of been reading. She's starting to become more like her dad.
And Varys was starting to see this.
Yeah. She's starting to become a little bit more like she wants to have a little power hungry a little bit, It's like she's like, I just want to do this and this and this. But
I think she's lost her way a bit.
Yeah, I think so too.
And I think it is because she lost another child. That could be one of the reasons.
Right.
Because she loves her children, so.
Right. Like, did you see that coming? Did you, like, when the second dragon got killed? Like, I was, like, taken so back by that
My girlfriend cried.
Yeah.
She loves dragons, yeah.
My girlfriend was kind of a bit on the, like, what? Like, did they really have to kill another dragon off? Like, really? And I'm like, I don't make the show.
I call Euron Greyjoy. I call him like the renegade Iron Fleet.
Yeah.
Compared to what Theon was.
Mm-hmm.
So, I really hate that man.
Like I liked him because he was playing the character so well. I think that's. I think I had a lot of fun hating him, if that makes sense.
I mean, he did throw off his. That was quite a bad.
Right. Oh, man. It was. I think I had a lot of fun watching his scenes. Like, I never wanted to, like, oh, come on, let's just get away from his stuff. I'm like,
yeah, he's very good at. He's a very proper, like, mercenary, like, scumbag sort of, like, build to him.
And like he was gonna be king if he won the war. Yeah, him and Cersei would have been running the whole show. So there was kind of a moment in the like episode 4 where was it in episode 4 where Tyrion and Varys was kind of contemplating what should happen to Daenerys.
About that moment, he says, "It's not treason if you're just talking about it."
Right, or thoughts, or something. Yeah. Oh man,
because didn't Varys, he wants Jon/Aegon on the Iron Throne,
right? Because like we talked, like you said, like he's starting to see kind of shades of the Mad King in Daenerys. And like Varys has served more kings and queens than anyone, and he kind of knows what to look for, and he sees Jon as the proper choice of who should be sitting on the Iron Throne.
He is an honourable man.
All right. Okay. I couldn't wait to talk about this with you. This like episode 5, like up to this point, like all the episodes have been kind of equally been about the same in terms of response, but I think this episode 5 to me got the most hate out of all of them. Do you think episode 5 deserved it?
No, I do not think it deserves its hate for its game.
Yeah, me neither. Like, with all the choices that they made, like, which one do you think was the best? Like, from the deaths, or like the big confrontations between the Mountain and the Hound, or like...
Oh, so much to think about. Like... It's like, when it went into... Like, I really think the fight scenes are really epic.
Yeah.
Like, they're probably one of the most epic. But it was more epic than the Battle of the Winterfell one, I found.
I found myself to be...
much death and...
I think it was because... I think it seemed brutal because it was kind of during the day, and we could see a little bit more, but... And also, it's like true living versus the living, and it was just kind of like it was during the day, and innocents were being like killed, and it was just like I think I have to agree with you on that one. It's like, even though like the Battle of Winterfell was kind of more intense because you couldn't really see what was going on, and like it was very suspenseful, where this one was just like plain brutal, like when the Dothraki and some of the just who was some of the other, like the Northerners, they just kind of like went wild and started just like, you know what, it's free to play in this town, like do whatever you want, and they're just like killing and doing really nasty things to everybody. It's like you're not, even after they have given up and everything, it's like
yeah, you see the look on Grey Worm and Jon's face,
mm-hmm.
and then Grey Worm just launches his spear right to one of the Lannister soldiers, and at this point they're literally surrendering, and Daenerys just plating the whole city, like, and I think when Tyrion sees this, he knows that she's gone mad,
right?
Like, she doesn't want to stand down.
No, like, I think after the death of Melisandre, and that's how the episode 4 ended. I think with the Mountain decapitating her, I think that was the moment where there was really no coming back. I think, like, regardless of they surrendered or not, like, she was going to do what she set out to do. Whenever she said, like, several seasons before, like, she's going to, like, burn the place down with fire and blood and or whatever. And it's just like that moment where she's like sitting on her dragon, staring at the Red Keep, and it's like, you knew what she was about to do. She was just going to rain dragon fire on the entire city.
We also got to see some of that green fire.
Right. Like I told, like, when I was seeing like the wildfire, and I was like, why are we seeing that? And I forgot that the Mad King had placed it all over town when they were talking about it in the, what they were called, the Blackwater episode, when they were talking about that kind of stuff. And it's like the king had planned to burn the whole town down, and it's like, but before Jaime did what he did, and it's like, oh, okay. So, okay, what was your favorite moment from this episode?
For me, it's the parting of the ways of the Hound and Harry, because that moment. Because I even watched the thing afterwards, and I agree with the people of the show. They're saying, like, because it kind of concludes a journey, and he's saying to her, like, he's lived for revenge, and she has so much more to do, and he doesn't want that for her. And I feel like I think that's one of the only people he's really loved, romance sort of way. But he's like, he really got on with her, and he doesn't want that for her. And I think he knew he was going to die.
Yeah, I think what he said in episode in episode 4 is like I don't plan on coming back, and I'm like, you knew, like, no matter how this was going to end, he was like, he's dying. And Arya said that as well, and I'm like, and then that, like you said, the Hound kind of had this like true father moment, you know. It was like, hey, I don't want, like you said, I don't want this for you, and then it kind of snapped Arya out of her like savageness, if that kind of makes sense, you know. And
yeah, I think it seems like she's gone back to how she originally was.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I saw it as well. It's like, and then her trying to escape King's Landing, and I think that was probably my favorite sequence in the movie. In the episode with Arya.
I know. There's so much like you can see the panic on her, the way she's running about, like she's trying to help that mother out, and then and you see a couple of Dothraki go past, and it's just so much going on. Like the camera work, I love, especially like it's just sliding through like all these alleyways, and
right,
it's so great.
Like even in the Battle of Winterfell, I didn't really seem like she was like truly panicked. You know, like, I mean, she was scared, but because there was a couple close calls. But I think truly in this episode, you've seen Arya for like the first time, and like really truly like this is the moment where she could die. You know, like there was, and even though there was like a few fake out sequences as well, like when the building kind of collapsed and it looked like she like that's it. You know, and. So, speaking of buildings collapsing, did you like the way Cersei died?
No, you can disagree with me on this one.
Okay.
I don't know if they really are dead. Like, because I mean, they probably are.
I think they are. I think they're technically dead. Like,
I kind of hope Jaime isn't, but I know in my heart he probably is.
well, we know Euron is.
I think he was really good in the end. And I know he's a very hateful person, but I think it was nice that he just wanted to be with her. Just to, as much as I hate it, the scene I really liked with the music, and he just says, "Look at me, nothing else matters." And
yeah,
I think that's all he ever wanted, just to be with her, because I think he knew what was going to happen. And
yeah, once they were trapped down in the underneath the Red Keep, like there was no coming out of there.
So I guess Euron never got to kill the Kingslayer.
Yeah.
A building killed him.
Yeah, I think that kill technically goes to Daenerys and the dragon. so did you like? I like we mentioned before, like this episode got a lot of hate because of one particular reason, is because Daenerys kind of really embraced the savageness of her and the ability of her dragon to really rain fire on this town.
Do you remember what she said to Jon as they're having a little smooch? He sort of stops and she goes, "It's fear then," and she's like, "Am I just a queen to you?" And that's not Jon's fault. She like, I guess because he says that's not his way where he comes from, because Targaryens are known for ancestry.
Yeah.
And he doesn't really want that, because I remember he did say like it can never be the same.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was one of the reasons that really like pissed her off. Like she wants obviously more, and she does love him, and I just don't think he loves her all the same back like he did originally. Then
yeah, I think once the information was dropped on him, I think his way of looking at her changed. Like it went from like potential love to like, nope, like all hands off. knowing that
his true love was Ygritte. I don't care what anyone says.
the red-headed wildling from
Which I believe they're actually together in real life.
Yeah, they are.
Those scenes must be awkward for her.
Okay, so with all that said, like we both agree that this season has been really good, despite all the hate and like a lot of people saying the season's being rushed and stuff like that. Like I don't think so whatsoever.
Rushed? 2 years,
right? Like I'm enjoying these long episodes. I'm enjoying like the not like I expected Cersei to be killed in a different fashion. Like by the hands of somebody. But a building collapsing on her, I did not see that. And I'm like, oh, but that kind of totally makes sense to me because like she's been wanting to stay on the throne for so long, and in this King's Landing, only for the building to collapse around her. I'm like, that seems kind of fitting. Just like we get the showdown between the Mountain and the Hound. Arya, some great character development. We get Gendry. He finally earns his Baratheon name. I thought that was a cool moment. So, like, I think this season overall has been awesome. Like I mentioned, like I was a little disappointed in episode 1, but after watching episode 3, it made the first 3 episodes like awesome. Like really feel like it was one epic movie. Like the build up, the breather, and then the chaos. And I was like, oh.
I would like to see that as an edit where someone puts like the first 2 episodes together and like as a movie and just call it Game of Thrones. I don't know, like The Long Night.
Right.
That'd be a cool little fan sort of like edit thing.
Oh, I know, like how they have like for the Phantom edit and stuff like that, where they like remove Jar Jar and stuff like that. And
I like the Attack of the Clones one with.
I haven't seen that one.
The no cheese edition.
Oh man, that sounds hilarious. I haven't even heard of that.
And it's like 40 minutes long.
Oh, okay. That's funny. That's really funny. Okay. Now, we are just a few days as of this recording from the final episode of Game of Thrones. What is your biggest prediction for the final episode?
I have a few people who could claim the throne.
Okay.
Okay, so I think one of them could be Tyrion.
Yeah, I think that seems like the popular choice. Everyone's wanting him to like have a win and take the throne.
Obviously, Jon's also a candidate for me.
Right.
Daenerys. And this is a strange one, but Sansa.
See, I think that would be, honestly, I think that would be kind of my leading candidate because she has like, if they're kind of doing kind of really true story arcs, I think Sansa or whatever her name is, her overall story arc from like being very naive to being where she is now, it's like I think she could rule as queen very well. She's made some like really smart choices here in these last few seasons, and
I mean, she saved Jon at Battle of Bastards.
Right. Like she got Littlefinger involved and then ultimately killed him, or at least was in part of killing him. Because I think Arya is the one who pulled the trigger on that one. But I think that's my leading candidate. I think that's my prediction. Who is winning? Who's going to be sitting on the throne is Sansa or Sansa. Like I said, can't pronounce names in this show for the life of me.
I would think Arya would be her hand, if anything, or maybe Jon. Like if that was to happen.
Yeah, I think he would still stay close. Of course, that's his sister and all, or a relative. But But I think he wouldn't, like he said, he doesn't want
But there is a character we haven't seen about in this episode, and that's Bron.
Oh, yeah, we totally forgot about him. Like, he kind of, like, he showed up for, like, 2 scenes in this entire season, and one, he's been given an order to kill Jaime and Tyrion, and then the next scene we see him in, he's kind of haggling a deal for a castle.
Yeah. Remember what I said? Whatever they're paying you, they will pay you more.
Yeah. Oh man, I'll be like, I've been reading comments and like, I just want Bronn to get his castle. I'm like, me too.
Yeah, if this man does not get his castle this series,
right? Oh, all right. Any other predictions? I think Daenerys is going to get killed.
As much as I love her, I find her a very attractive woman. I think that too.
Yeah, I think she's really past the point of...
My girlfriend has even said she's up and starting to act like a bitch. Her words, not mine.
I think she's going to be killed. I really, like, as much as like how prominently she is, I think she is probably the one death that's going to like really be important in this final episode that really like makes things clear. It's like after her actions in episode 5 of her just like, you know what, I'm burning this town to the ground.
You did see Jon. He was trying to tell his men to stop.
Yeah,
and he even saves a woman by killing, because he has that moment with the soldier and they both look at each other. He just like stabs him quickly.
Yeah, because the soldiers are just running wild, doing what they want, and he, like the soldier, like you said, grabbed this woman and takes her off into this alley and about to rape her, and Jon's like, no, like this is not how it goes, and he's basically like, he tries to stop him, and then the soldier's like, what are you doing, or whatever, and he's like, he starts fighting back, and Jon is forced to kill him, and
as I quote one of the episodes, the pointy end.
Yeah. I really like that episode. I like that moment in episode 3 where Arya gives Sansa a piece of dragon glass. It's like, I don't even know what to do with this. And it's like, stick him with the pointy end. I'm like, I love that. That's like fantastic.
And then Jon, when he says, you still have Needle.
Yeah.
Wasn't that like episode 2 where he gives that to her?
Yeah. Or no, I think it was episode 1. Because I think it was towards the tail end of episode 1. So, but yeah, it was. I was like, you still have it, and I'm really sad to see this show go. End.
Yeah, I do hope they do make a sort of spin-off series and even have some other characters be in it.
Mm-hmm.
I have one more.
Okay.
Prediction for the phone.
Okay.
I want Ghost just to hop along when everyone's talking, and I want him to sit on that phone.
Who?
Ghost.
Oh, you know how you know how funny that would be as like a post-credit sequence where it's just, the throne is just sitting there and the ghost just hops up on it
with his little crown and his golden dog bowl.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be great.
And everyone's just smiling and all like, "Aww," and he just mauls them all to death.
Yeah, like, there's our true winner, Ghost. Oh.
And then Bran walks in and just goes, do I still get my castle?
Oh, man. I've been invested in this show since the beginning, and it's been a wild ride. I mean,
I know, but for me, obviously, I started just before the start of the year, and it's probably one of the fastest shows I've got so engrossed into, and I know I haven't been on a long ride as most other people, but I'm proud to say that I became a fan of this, and I'm glad that I've been on this journey.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, no matter like when you got into it, it's like we're all on the same page at this point, and it's like at least a good portion of it's like we're about to see the finale of it all. It's like we're gonna see who gets the throne, whose actions have finally caught up with them, and or making some decisions for the first time. It's like it's going to be an epic finale. Like, and And I honestly cannot wait to read the reactions, just because how people are going to get so butthurt over it. I know they are.
Yeah, the thing is, I think I'm going to enjoy it, whatever the outcome is. Because if you like something, I don't like giving stuff a hard time.
Right.
Like, even if I don't agree with something, it's just, I feel like it will pan out in a good way.
Agreed. Like, even like how I think we've talked about Dexter, their season finale. It's like, even though Dexter didn't quite end up what we thought, or he ended up as a lumberjack, but like
he's a lumberjack and it's okay.
Yeah. Like, there's room to where he could come back, so it's like you gotta look at that. It's like like, at least
I enjoyed that series. I really did.
I do too. I honestly, it's like I just caught up with Supernatural.
Oh, okay.
And like, they're about to go into their final season, so it's going to be kind of another like heartache year for me coming up because I've been
condolences.
What?
My condolences.
Yeah. So I've been like, I'm losing some big TV shows this year, like Big Bang.
Oh no. Yeah.
I haven't watched any of this. I've maybe watched like 10 episodes of this final season.
You know what? I have too. So we should probably talk about that in the topic next time at some point.
Right.
I will start rinsing through them now, but it's going to be complete.
Okay, so speaking of heartache, we also had another big moment on the film side of things, was Avengers. What'd you think? Just your initial reaction when the final credit rolled up on the screen.
Again, a lot of sadness for me. But a fantastic movie. I really liked it. It was nice to see other Avenger films, and it was nice to see scenes with added stuff.
Right.
That was really great. Like with Ant-Man, and I think when he sees his other stuff and he goes, "He's right. That is the ass of America." Like, I love Paul Rudd in that movie.
Yeah.
Oh, and then with Star-Lord when he's dancing, I think it's the first Guardians movie. And
yeah.
The fist just comes out and knocks him out. I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't ready.
Right? I was
spilled my drink when I watched that. I was what?
And him badly singing, as in the first Guardians, we don't hear him singing. It's just like the pure song playing in the background, and it's just like now we hear him like what he's like his bad singing, and it's like his bad karaoke singing, and like, oh my god, that's hilarious. Like, he's just a bad singer. No wonder he puts the headphones on. I really liked it as well. I think I'll start with the negative real quick, but I think a little bit of the time traveling could have been cut a little bit, like kind of get more to the point of everything, but I mean, I still enjoyed the whole movie. I mean, I liked how it opened with Clint and his family being victims of the snap, and then like them trying to get all the stuff with Stark in space with Nebula. I really liked that a lot. I thought that was really good with her and Nebula, him and Nebula kind of figuring out how to get home, and obviously it's just not going to happen. And I think my biggest disappointment was Captain Marvel in that movie.
Yeah, like at the moment, because I don't think I've seen Captain Marvel yet, but there's nothing against the actress, but I found her a bit boring. Because I thought there was going to be a whole like gimmicky thing with her and Thor.
Oh.
But I didn't really see anything like that. I was like, oh, this would be funny, but
yeah, I really liked Captain Marvel. I actually went to the movies and seen it twice, in which that never happens hardly anymore. Like, just let alone going to the movies. So seeing it twice was kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. And like the way they were building her up, like she was going to be this epic moment, or like she was gonna be the one to kill Thanos and stuff like that, but her just having just a few moments here and there, I'm like, oh, really? It's like, and like I think she like in what's it called in Endgame, I think she was very underutilized.
Yeah, because she's even on the poster as like a
Right.
main character,
And she's in the movie for like all of 5 minutes.
because I think I remember there was a whole thing with Danny Guerrero, and her name wasn't even on the poster. That caused like a whole thing, and she seems more involved in the story than.
Oh, you're talking about the Denai, who plays
Hmm.
what, who plays in The Walking Dead? You talking about her?
Yeah.
Okay, like Oki or no? I can't pronounce. See, I can't pronounce crap. To save my life. But yeah, like okay, here's the big thing. Like Endgame and Game of Thrones kind of happened around the same time. Which one did you find yourself liking more?
It's going to be the Thrones.
Yeah, me too.
I'm not saying it was a bad movie. It's just.
I think I was more invested in Thrones than I was in the movie.
Yeah.
Like even that's a like okay. Both have like an extreme long. They've both been bad on TV and in the movies about the same time. Like 11 years, 8 years. Oh, technically 10 if you take the 2 year hiatus they took. So like they're both about the same in terms of like when everything started. They both have all these characters, all these movies, seasons, and like building up to this really final moments before like any spin-offs or the new phases start. It's like I think Thrones took the victory in all of this.
Right, because at the moment I'm starting to look more forward to the DC side of things.
Oh.
And I know because I have an uncle, he really hates on DC, but like I think, well, I like both equally, but I'm looking forward to some of this new like sort of DC stuff coming out now. Like I did enjoy stuff like Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
Was okay with Justice League. I didn't like the comedic factor of Batman. Like he's not really a funny character. The Flash, yeah, I liked him. Like, I've even played games like Injustice. The Flash has witty comments.
Right.
I
agree with that.
Green Arrow, they make funny sort of like banter between each other, and then with Batman, it's just I don't see it working like that. It's
he had a lot of one-liners in the movies. Like no, that's what the Flash is there for.
Yeah.
I'm trying to. I haven't seen Shazam yet.
I'm quite interested by that. I was watching the trailers, and I do chuckle when I see him.
Yeah.
Just the way he's buying his beer, he's just like all with his superhero.
See, I love Zachary Levi. I think because I'm a big fan of Chuck, and
yeah.
So like I was all on board when I found out he was being cast as Shazam. Like, yes, please. I will go see this. Which I didn't go see, but it'll definitely be like a day one purchase. I'll be like off work, go get it and watch it.
I see you are a cultured man too.
Yeah, I know. Well, speaking of being uncultured, like me and you have, like it's been well documented in our previous episodes that we like to talk about some horror movies, just a little. And this may lead to something a little later in the year, what I have planned, but you recently watched a couple horror movies, right?
Yeah.
What was it, Exorcist 2 and 3?
Yeah, and I believe there's a prequel as well, but I haven't got around to that yet. I think it's called Dominion.
Yeah. That's it.
And I heard there's two versions. My uncle, he said one is one they originally wanted released, but never did, and that's called... well, it's got another name. It's two. It's the same film, but it's two versions of it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. You've watched what the Heretic and what was 3?
I think it was Dominion.
Okay. Did you like him? I know Exorcist was kind of a big thing.
Two wasn't scary. I didn't even hear the Exorcist theme in it, but in the third one, in the actually the Tubular Bells theme, and I was like, all right, this is good. And I found a bit more horror than this because the second one had Linda Blair in it. Was it Linda Blair Reagan?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so she was in it, but it wasn't much horror. It didn't feel like a horror movie to me, so I was a little let down. But it had James Earl Jones in it. That was pretty cool.
I didn't know he was in those.
Yeah, he plays like a voodoo guy or something. He's a good guy.
Okay.
And the third one was like there was a little bit of gore factor in it actually. It's quite messy scenes.
Oh.
And it felt more tense than the one before that.
Gotcha. Like when right before we started talking, recording this, like I mentioned that I had a few black spots in my horror knowledge, and it really came apparent when I did this last year's 31 Days of Fright, when I would when I would like watch other people who was doing it and commenting and like, oh man, I totally have not seen this or even heard about it, and stuff like that. And that kind of got me thinking, like, what am I going to do for my 31 Days of Fright this year? And like I've been trying to watch a Hellraiser movie each year, like at least one. So I've been up to 4. So I think this year for one of the big events for my Halloween thing is I'm going to try to watch all the Hellraiser movies in one go. That's kind of like my film goal for October.
Nice.
Because the Hellraiser movies are kind of like my black spot. Like I've seen the Freddys and Michaels and Leprechauns, except for the new Leprechaun movie.
Actually, I haven't seen the Leprechauns except from the first one.
Oh, see, I haven't even seen all of them either, but I have them.
There's a lot of them. There's a lot.
Yeah, I think Leprechaun's kind of a black spot as well. But I think to me, Hellraiser's a kind of a bigger dark spot, and kind of like I have not seen them all.
I have actually met Clive Barker. I do have his autograph.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm jealous.
Oh.
Is there any like when it comes to October this year? I know, like, is there any kind of horror movies that you're going to try to seek out for this month or that later in the year to watch?
This is another oldie actually, because there's some old sort of cult classics I haven't really watched yet. I want to try and watch the Puppet Master movies.
Oh.
And there's like 12 of them because my uncle was looking at his box set and he didn't even know. He only saw up to 6, or he has up to 5, and there was like in this box set you get 15 discs and there's like 12 movies and then like some extra bonus discs, and it's in a like toy box sort of thing.
Man, I totally forgot about the Puppet Master movie.
Yeah, so that I'm gonna try and watch them and see if I can find anywhere to watch.
I know they did. I know they remade the first one.
I think I watched the proper ones before I even attempted to remake. Because I'm actually one of the, I'm going to say my generation, because I know a lot of people my sort of generation of things will be like, they just go for like the remakes, but I watch sort of all aspects of horror. Like, that's like my second love next to like anime, fantasy.
Uh-huh.
It's, but I generally like original versions next to remakes, funny enough.
I do too.
But there's some remakes I do like, don't get me wrong. Like, I've always loved the Halloween remakes. I thought they were brilliant, in my opinion.
Yeah, like, I think we talked about that in the last episode, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like what we liked about the new Halloween movie that... I'm trying to think. Like, this year I've been setting out to watch 150 new movies, like just movies that I have not seen or just movies that just seem very interesting to watch. Is there like any other like non-horror movies you would like to watch this year? Like ones that have been kind of just like you never quite got around to yet?
Oh. You know what? I think I actually have it on my shelf. It's not really a horror movie. It's kind of like a It's kind of like an animated movie, but I found it by chance. It's called Blue Sky.
Okay, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's what does it say? It is. Okay. So it's kind of like a futuristic sort of thing.
Okay.
It says it's kind of like a modern day Akira.
Oh, okay.
So but I found this in a charity shop for like $1.99, and it's a 2-disc. It's a Tartan DVD. And they make Tartan Extreme like Asian movies. So this is kind of. It's called Sky Blue 2142 AD. It's a 2-disc edition. It's sort of like energy around this planet, and sort of giving you a quick premise. It's an organic city called Ekoban, and they're sort of like fighting for the existence of the planet. So very sci-fi. I think that's why I picked it up. But yeah, it seems like quite a mature sort of animated sort of movie. But, that's one of the things that's on my watch list at the moment.
Yeah, it sounds like we both have some good film goals for this year, like some horror, some non-horror, or at least sci-fi-ish. Outside, at least a little bit outside the realm of what we would normally watch, or at least close to it. That's what I've been trying to do more than anything, is just kind of like watch movies I wouldn't normally watch, or movies that I haven't got around to. Like I bought Lawrence of Arabia a while back, and it's been sitting on my shelf, and like I haven't, and Chinatown, I've been wanting to watch those two.
I do have Jason and the Argonauts, as in like old cinema.
Oh,
that's on my watch list as well.
Ray Harryhausen, like. I like his movies a lot. I like his style of stop motion, because I was a big fan of Clash of the Titans, and
yeah, I grew up when I was younger. I saw a lot of things like that. Like
same.
What else was there I saw like that? So,
I need to get the Ray Harryhausen box set for my dad, so I can add those to my my list for this year. Like, because he has like The Voyage of Sinbad.
That's the one I was thinking of. The Voyage of Sinbad as well. Yeah, I remember watching that when I was younger, and I loved it. Like sort of back in its time, in the day when I watched it.
So like I've been trying, like, that was really what I set out to do, is to kind of watch more classics, but I've been watching a little bit more modern movies with kind of some sprinkled older movies in there. I think the oldest movie that I watched, I can't even remember. It was like a couple months ago, but it was like, oh man, I probably should have been watching. I should have watched just years ago. So
I'm like that too when I've seen something that I've never seen before. I'm like, whoa.
But I'm like, I'm glad I watched it now when I was like ready for it, instead of like just forcing myself to watch it. Okay, so we are about done for this episode. Is there, from any of the, like how I like to end our shows, is there anything from our previous topics that you would like to have one final stamp on before we say our goodbyes?
Well, I sort of for the near future, that would be a really cool idea. I think once we get to episode 10, and like at least they come a bit more frequently now. We had the like Game of Thrones. We had like the 2-year gap. We had the 2-year gap. So I think for episode 10, it'd be nice to do like a video one.
Oh.
And maybe show off some like our favorite sort of movie collections. That I think that'd be a really great idea.
Oh, that would be, like, once I figure out how to do it, I would totally be up for it.
Oh yeah.
I've always wanted to, like that's how I think we originally envisioned doing this, was video, but then it's like, just due to our lack of stuff on each of our ends, it's kind of like, crap, we can't.
Yeah, it's great. I've got like a laptop now that my my friend, she fixed up for me, got me like a cool gaming pad for my League of Legends.
Oh.
So I have a nice setup now, and the sound on this is brilliant now. It's probably one of the best laptops I've owned, so I have a good setup now. Like I've got my sort of table, got my sort of, this gets to be my background now. Like a picture of Hard Joker would be like, yeah, it's kind of like my little sort of my project space now, I like to call it.
Oh, I know exactly what I totally forgot to talk about you with. I know from I think we talked about it in the last at least one point in these 4 episodes is what'd you think of the new Star Wars trailer?
Oh, now,
or do you want to save that for next time?
Oh, I'm going to be 50-50 on that one.
We'll save it for next time. Yeah. So maybe another trailer will come out in that time. So I think we should hold that one. Oh, what really originally started all this is Game of Thrones. Which was your house? What's the house that you side with?
I've always been a man of the North myself. I think it was also Sean Bean. Like, it's probably one of the best things they could have placed that man in because he sounds the same and everything.
Right.
It's like our city of Gondor and then our city of Winterfell. You know, it's just I love the man. Like, doesn't live out anything, but I love the man.
I think I'm a man of the North too because I like the cold. The cold doesn't bother me like most people, so I've kind of I'm definitely at least a man of the North. Not necessarily a Stark, but definitely a Northerner for sure. Maybe a wildling. I got my Tormund beard going on, so.
Oh, I do. Speaking of him, I've always loved the scenes of him when he goes, "The big woman's here."
Yeah. Oh, I know. My girlfriend absolutely loves that. We send Game of Thrones memes to one another, and that's usually the ones that kind of get the big reaction out of her. Is Brianna and Tormund, his like infatuation with her, and it's like that is just fantastic.
I remember the bit where he's sitting on the horse, and he looks at her. And he like does that really weird smile.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I think we're both for the North, that's for sure. That's is there I think that's about it for this episode of Game of Thrones in games and horror talk. We can't go an episode without talking about horror in some fashion. So, as always, my name is Max.
And I'm Michael.
And we are going to go geek out. And don't forget to click subscribe and the little bell notifications for any future videos. So,